Hi, and welcome to my free 6-day mini course. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide you with a high-level overview about what it's like to start your own niche online store and basically provide you a high-level introduction to e-commerce. So what are you going to learn? First of all, I'm going to teach you about all the different online e-commerce business models and how they work. And then I'm going to teach you how to find and evaluate profitable products to sell online and how to find wholesale vendors with which to stock your goods. Then I'm going to teach you how to create a great looking website without any technical experience whatsoever. And finally, I'm going to go over everything you need to create a niche online store, including all the setup, how to set up credit cards, how to design your site, and all that stuff. And finally, I'm going to teach you how to get your first sales. Now, this course is for you if you're a parent who wants to work from home to take care of their kids. This course is for you if you want to replace your income and quit your job. This course is for you if you want a flexible schedule to do what you want and spend more time with your loved ones. If you run a brick and mortar store and you want to move that online. And here's the thing you want to keep in mind. It doesn't matter if you don't have any products or services at all, if you're not sure what you want to sell, because I will teach you how to launch a profitable online store from complete scratch without any previous knowledge required. Now, before we begin, I just want to talk about some of the students in my class who have gone on to create very successful online stores. So this store, who's run by my student Jen, she makes $50,000 per month selling on Amazon and on her own online store at Shower Curtain HQ. Now, keep in mind, these are live stores. You can actually go over to showercurtainhq.com and check it out for yourself. Another student, Abby, she started vivianlu.com. She sells high-heeled insoles for shoes, and she makes $100,000 per month selling only on her own website. And once again, her site is vivianlu.com. You can type that in and go check it out for yourself. And finally, one of my oldest students, Ron, he started sunnydecals.com and grew it to a 7-figure business selling children's wall decals online. Once again, go over to sunnydecals.com and check out his site. And so, who am I? My name is Steve Chu, and I run the popular blog mywifequitherjob.com. And presumably you guys signed up for this 6-day mini course on mywifequitherjob.com, so you're probably already familiar with the site. But I also run a popular podcast called How to Quit Your Job. You can go on iTunes and check it out. I interview bootstrap business owners and basically delve deeply into how they got started and how they grew their businesses. And finally, I run an annual e-commerce conference called the Seller Summit. And basically, I bring together a whole bunch of people who are selling online, and we share our secrets on how to be successful. Now, I want to take a step back and talk about the early days. I actually got into entrepreneurship way back in 2007, and I actually remember that year very clearly because both my wife and I, we were stuck in a rut. Now, we both worked full-time and we both made 6 figures, but here's what our life consisted of. We would basically wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, watch TV, go to bed, wake up the next morning, go to work, come home, have dinner, watch TV, go to bed. And this cycle kind of repeated over and over and over again. And basically we were stuck in this rut. We weren't going anywhere with our lives, and it was just the same routine night in, night out. Now this lifestyle wouldn't be so bad, but my wife really hated her job. So every single morning on her way out the door, she would kind of pull me aside and she would say, "Okay, honey, I'm off to the hellhole I call my job now." Now, if you can imagine, I had to watch her go to work and I had to watch her long face every single day. And it was actually quite depressing. And deep down, I actually knew that she should quit her job. I knew that we should start our own business, but we could never get the courage to start, and we could never actually find the time to begin. But then something happened. My wife became pregnant with our first child, and everything changed overnight. So I actually remember that day very distinctly because I was super excited, but I was terrified at the same time. Now, I knew this was like the perfect excuse for my wife to quit her job, but we actually live in an expensive area. Almost everyone around us, everyone works, like both spouses work, because it actually requires 2 working parents to get a good house in a good school district so that your kids can actually get a good education. So what ended up happening is we started brainstorming different businesses that we could start so my wife could stay at home. And that's kind of how we stumbled upon e-commerce. And so that year in 2007, and it's actually a long story, I'll tell it really quickly here. We actually started a store selling handkerchiefs. And our store is actually at bumblebeelinens.com. You can actually go check it out. We've been running it for like the last 10 years. And we actually decided to sell handkerchiefs because when my wife and I first got married, she knew she was going to cry at the wedding. And we paid a lot of money for photography, and she didn't want to be seen on camera drying her tears with a ratty tissue. So we looked all over the place for handkerchiefs, couldn't find any. Finally, we found this vendor over in China, but they were only willing to sell us like a couple hundred because they were a factory. So we ended up buying a whole bunch of these handkerchiefs, used maybe 6. We sold the rest on eBay, and they ended up selling like hotcakes. And so, once she became pregnant, we actually got back in touch with that vendor and started bumblebeelinens.com. And within the first year, we actually managed to make over $100,000 in profit and actually replaced my wife's entire salary. Now, as I mentioned before, we've been running this store for the last 10 years, and it's actually grown in the double and triple digits ever since 2007. And today, my wife is just so much happier. And here's a picture of my family, and both my wife and I, we have the freedom to spend all of our time with them. I never miss a soccer game. I'm there for all their school activities, and just the lifestyle is just so much better for us. And that's just a quick story about how my wife and I got started in e-commerce. I do want to talk a little bit about my philosophies for this course. So first of all, what I'm going to be teaching today here is not a get-rich-quick scheme. And it's also not about starting the next Amazon.com or the next Facebook or the next Google. We are here to start a business that suits your lifestyle. Running a business that allows you to spend time doing the things that you love or hang out with those people that you love, and a business that also allows you to set your own schedule. Now, what sets my class apart from the others is I'm actually going to teach you how to start a branded long-term business. There's a lot of business models out on the internet that'll teach you how to make a quick buck, but I'm going to show you how to create a business that lasts the test of time and allows you to hang out with your family as well. As I mentioned before, we've been running Bumblebee Linens for the last 10 years, and we anticipate running this business for another 10 years. Now, what are some of the advantages of selling online? Some of my readers of my blog, they come to me with brick and mortar stores and they want to take their operation online. Well, the beauty of selling online is that you actually don't need to be physically present to make money. Your computer takes orders for you while you sleep, and there's actually very little overhead to actually maintain a website. Most of the software is already written for you, and basically you just have to customize it to your particular business and brand. Now, the number one question that I always get is, hey, Steve, why should I bother starting my own online store when I can just sell on eBay, Etsy, or Amazon? Now, let's just take Amazon for a sec. The problem with Amazon is that they don't have your interests in mind. Their primary concern is with their growth and their stock price. They can raise prices at any time. They can change their algorithms and make your products harder to find. And in fact, Amazon routinely changes the rules. In just the past year, they've raised prices and changed a lot of rules that have made selling a lot harder. Also, when you sell on these platforms, like an eBay and Etsy or an Amazon, they don't allow you any sort of design flexibility. Every single listing follows a very similar design template, and it's very hard to stand out from the pack. And when you can't stand out from the pack, that means it's very difficult to establish your own brand. Not only that, but these marketplaces, they charge a huge percentage of your sales. So for example, eBay will take maybe 11 to 15% of your revenue. If you're selling on Amazon and Amazon is fulfilling your orders for you, Amazon will take between 15 and 35% of your revenue. Now, these marketplaces are a great place to start out and validate what you're trying to sell, but in the long run, you're going to want to have your own branded website. After all, you don't want your business to be at the mercy of someone else. You want complete design flexibility in order to stand out from your competitors, and basically you want to be in control of your own destiny. You don't want someone else calling the shots on your business and your livelihood. And so you want to establish your own brand and you want to future-proof your business. Now, I thought I'd just take a couple of moments to kind of dispel some of the common myths of small business ownership. I know that when my wife and I first started out, we were terrified. We were scared about all these statistics online. One of the statistics that I actually hate is the fact that 9 out of 10 small businesses fail. And the reason why I hate this statistic is because I believe that these 9 people who are failing are jumping into the business without any training and without any prior knowledge. And they're basically just bumbling their way through it. And of course, when you do it that way, most of the time you're going to fail. First myth I want to dispel is starting a business is too risky. So first of all, my wife and I started our store on the side while we both worked full-time jobs. We actually risked next to nothing to start the business. Because we used an open source platform to run our store, which is completely free, there were no programmer costs, there were no real development costs, and we basically did everything on the side when we got home from work. So basically we worked nights and weekends and made things work. So you absolutely don't have to quit your job. I would say that you should be at least willing to devote 5 hours per week to your business. Now, another common myth is that it costs too much to get started. Now, back in 2007, my wife and I actually started bumblebeelinens.com for only $630. Our main cost was a digital camera, a computer, and $300 worth of inventory that we got from China. Now, let's say you don't even have $630 to start. Well, if you go with one of the lowest cost business models out there, you can actually get started for $5 a month. The overhead for maintaining an online business is so low that today, if our business were to grind to a halt, it would actually only cost us about $80 a month to maintain our store. Now, another myth is you actually don't have to carry inventory. One, you can drop ship, and what drop shipping is, the way it works, is that you actually take orders on your website, and then you actually have this arrangement with the vendor where they'll actually ship the goods to the end customer. So they hold all the inventory and they're responsible for fulfillment. You're responsible for collecting the money and making the sale, and then you pay the vendor. Also, if you don't have room to store inventory in your house, there's a whole bunch of third-party fulfillment services out there that act like warehouses. You send them your goods, and as soon as you get an order, you tell them and they ship it to the end customer. And finally, there's also Amazon. Amazon will take your inventory and ship everything to the end customer as well. Now, one of the most common fears that I get from the people who read my blog is that they think starting a business or starting a website is just too hard. And let me tell you this, starting an online store today is just so much easier than back when my wife and I started in 2007. First of all, you don't need any technical knowledge to begin. All of the software is written for you. There's a bunch of open source shopping carts out there that are just completely free, and all the code's written for you, and all you have to do is install that on your web host. And also there's fully hosted platforms like Shopify and Ecommerce, which basically handle all the heavy lifting for you, and all you have to do is list your products on there. Now, a lot of the fully hosted platforms, which I'll introduce you to in the next couple subsequent lessons, they offer drag and drop interfaces so that you can customize your store without knowing any HTML or any code whatsoever. And what I'll do is, in the next couple lessons, my mini course will present you with different options depending on what you're comfortable with in terms of technical skill. Like if you have a little bit of technical skill, I will probably point you over to the open source shopping carts where you actually own the platform. But if you're totally tech averse, I'll probably point you over to platforms like Shopify and BigCommerce. The key thing to keep in mind here is that I've done all the shopping cart research for you. Now, a lot of people complain to me, and we actually had this excuse too, is that you don't actually have enough time to start a business. Now, if you look at my life back when I started my businesses, I was running a blog, I was running a store, I had 2 kids, I was running a training class, a podcast, and a conference while working full-time as an electrical engineer. Now, I'm not Superman, and in fact, I consider myself to be quite a lazy person. The key to productivity is to break your task down into small pieces that can actually be accomplished in 20 or 30-minute chunks. What you want to do is you want to work your business into your routine, do a little bit each day, and think in the long term. Now, let me just give you a quick example. When I started my e-commerce class, I actually started with no content. But what I did is I told myself that I would put out 1 or 2 pieces of content every single week, and I started this class back in 2011. And fast forward to today, I actually have over 300 videos spanning over 100 hours of material. So just by working on it very little, on a steady pace, every single week, I eventually grew it to something much, much larger. That is the mentality that you're going to have to take with your e-commerce business. Because after all, you can't wait for a big block of time. Especially if you have kids, big blocks of time don't exist. You basically have to work everything into your routine. Now, one thing I do want to tell you though is once you get your business started, it is really exhilarating. I still remember back when we got our first sale, like my wife, we were just so thrilled. We were so happy because there's something to be said about making your own money and making your own sales versus working a full-time job. It is a very rewarding experience, and I guarantee that you'll enjoy the experience if you just take the chance. Okay, so now I want to switch gears and kind of get into the guts of e-commerce. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some of the business models. So one business model I want to talk about is dropshipping. As I mentioned before, the way dropshipping works is you have a storefront and you take orders, and then you have an arrangement with the vendor where the vendor actually sends the goods to the end customer. So you don't have to hold any inventory at all. And basically the money you make is the difference between what you're charging and the wholesale cost. You can also start an online store and sell other people's brands and other people's inventory. There's a lot of examples like this. For example, Target has very few of their own brands. They primarily sell other people's brands. You can sell your own branded products, which is actually the best long-term solution. This is basically where you're going out and having your own goods manufactured, where you're putting your own brand on it. And then finally, you can sell as an affiliate. And the way affiliate marketing works is that you basically refer a sale to another business, and that business pays you a cut for the referral. And so the way I'm going to help you decide which business model to choose is based on these 3 parameters. Now, the first parameter is effort. How hard is it to get started? The second factor is sustainability. What is the long-term potential of this business model? And then finally, I'm going to talk about these business models on a profitability scale. Okay, and so let's talk about effort first. So drop shipping, because you don't have to carry your own inventory, because you don't have to source any product, it's actually one of the easier online store business models to have. And so that's why I give it a 7 out of 10 in terms of easy factor. However, in terms of sustainability, I give it a 4 out of 10. And here's the reason why. When you're drop shipping, you're selling other people's products, and the margins for drop shipping are actually quite low. They're often on the order of 10 to 25%. And what that means is you're going to be making less money and you're selling other people's products, and you're going to be going up against other people who are carrying inventory and they have better margins than you. And so you don't have that much flexibility in terms of pricing. And thanks to platforms like Amazon, where manufacturers are selling directly on Amazon and basically bypassing the drop shippers, it's going to be very difficult to compete on price. And so that's why drop shipping, of all the online store business models, is not very sustainable in the long run. In terms of profitability, as I mentioned before, 10 to 25% margins. Compare that to 50 to 90% margins for some of the other business models, and you'll realize that you have to make a lot more sales to make the same amount of money. Now, a traditional store where you're selling other people's products, in terms of effort level, you still have to go out and you have to contact vendors and store your own products, and so that's why I give it a 5 out of 10. In terms of sustainability, I give it a 7 out of 10 because you're establishing your own brand with your products. And in terms of profitability, your margins are going to be on the order of 50%, and so you're going to be a lot more profitable than the dropshipper. Now, the next business model is selling your own branded goods. Now, in terms of effort, I give it a 3 out of 10, which means that it's harder to do. And the reason for this is you actually have to reach out to manufacturers, build your own products, and put your own brand on them. But the best thing about that is that it is the highest sustainable business model out there because you actually own your brand and you own your goods. In terms of profits, profit margins can be 90% plus, which basically means that you get to keep a lot of the money that you're making online. Okay, and so selling your own goods is probably the most long-term and the highest profitable business model out there. And then the last business model is affiliate sales. And once again, that's basically when you're referring someone to another company and you basically get a cut of the sale. And effort level wise, affiliate marketing is the easiest because you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is point your customer to a different website where they take over and they're in charge of closing the sale. So in terms of effort level, affiliate sales is the easiest. In terms of sustainability, because you're not in control at all, I give it a 3, mainly because the way affiliate marketing works is a lot of companies, when they're first starting out and they need customers, they're all about getting affiliates. But once companies become more established, they don't need their affiliates anymore. And oftentimes more established brands will actually just flat out cancel their affiliate program over time. And so in terms of profitability, because you're not doing any work, the payout for the referral is often pretty low. And so you actually have to refer a lot of sales to make a good living. Okay, and so that's just a high-level overview of all the online store business models out there. I hope you enjoyed this first lesson. Keep in mind that you're going to have new lessons come into your inbox every single day, and they're going to be sequentially numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so in the event that you miss a lesson, or for some reason a lesson doesn't get sent to your inbox, send me an email at steve@mywifequitherjob.com and I'll forward you the lesson that you're missing. Thanks.